Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hi, I am Pooja Katwani.
Hello everyone, I'm Akshay Thorat.
Hello, I am Varsha Vijay.
Hello everyone, I'm Ankur Agrawal.
Hello, I am Alalika Roy.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohammad Hashim Ali.
Hello, I'm Kostas Murtha.
So today we are here to discuss about a company called Encore Battery Company. They are the largest lead acid battery manufacturer. But like every company, they want to increase their turnover, but they are facing some problem to increase their sales. So we are here to discuss about how they can increase their sales. So here in the case it's given that they are planning to introduce new products, but we are a good variety of options of new products. So
Friends, let us just discuss the facts. It is given that 25% of the market of EBC goes to the renewable market, that is the manufacture the renewable batteries, and 33.33% of the market share goes to the new equipments. So the main problem that is identified by the consumers is that they don't want to be over dependent on the EBC company alone. And the second and the most important problem is that they don't wish to actually be dependent on the renewable source of the market. So talking about the second problem, EBC needs to identify the second problem more and increase its renewable market share. One possible solution of increasing their renewable market solution is to decrease the prices at which they are selling, because it is given that there is a very fierce competition in the market. Yes. And talking about the fierce competition, if we reduce the price at a certain extent, then at least out of the two problems, the second problem, that is the renewable market share problem, will be resolved to a great extent. Adding to this, I like to ask your opinions for it.
Yes, actually, according to opinion of Ankur, as I know that this is a industry, there is a monopolistic competition, because there is a free entry or exit of any new companies in this particular area. So that's why I think if you are going to increase your sales, then there should be some valid reasons for your product so that everybody can purchase. Like there is different kind of companies in this market, like Luminous and Excite of the Kolkata region. That is, Excite is very famous, as according to this company is also very successful. But still, if you are not going to make your product in a very efficient way, maybe in the term of the long time of the product, and as well as there is some another features which is giving the value of your particular product, then you are not able to survive, and as well as you increase the product.
What I think is, I think that there are two options that company are left with. I think, as my friend told, that the batteries they are already making for the cars, they should be going with the same. They should they should make the same car batteries, or they should offer batteries that are used in the small vehicles like vans or cars. And as my friend said, that the competition is very fierce and the prices should be lower. And what I think is the second option, that the batteries that are made for cars and cars and vans, they are relatively 4 times cheaper. So what I think is that we could reach the market, and the sales would be, I think the sales would increase.
I would like to take from where Ankur left it, we can increase our market share by decreasing the prices, but what I would like to add on is that while we are decreasing the prices, we should not compromise with the quality. We can improve the quality of our batteries, increasing their lifetime, so that renewal is not needed time and again. So in that case, we can attract customers who will be more going for the quality. So decreasing price is one of the solutions that can be provided, but at the same time we can look at changing something in our quality which will make our battery stand apart from our competitors.
So I'll pick up from your point, and I mentioned that we have different options to venture out while we are increasing the market share. We can opt for batteries, we can opt for new kind of batteries, we can bring innovation in the R&D sector of the battery industry, where we can come up with new type of batteries. Like it mentioned that we can come up with nickel cadmium batteries, lead acid batteries, which are much more lighter and compact and durable. So we can, to increase the market share, what we have to do is that we cannot give us a constraint in a sector that we have been doing on for ages. We can venture out of
In
that
the-
sector
and I
and
think
come
we
out.
have to- we should
we
venture
should
out
come out
because-
from the sector and
Yes.
venture new sectors.
New
Come up
sector,
with
yes.
new batteries.
Very
new
good point, my
batteries.
friend. It is given that lead acid batteries are cheaper than the nickel cadmium batteries, but the main concern is capturing the market, and it is not given that the firm is expected or is expecting to actually concentrate on the money. What it is concentrating is
Attracting the
Attracting
customers
consumers.
and
So-
increasing the sales.
For this purpose, for attracting the customer, you can do the brand and means promotion of that particular product which you have made. Maybe some facilities or extra features you have added, but you are not able to reach
Maybe
to
the
the market.
features like the lighter
If you-
and more compact and durability
Yes,
maybe
actually for this purpose you should
promote.
promote this particular product, what kind of features you have bring in your product, and you should try to connect with the users who is using this kind of products.
And
Another
if
point
the
that
product
we can-
is differentiated from the other market shareholders, like the competitors, the like they will be able to capture the market. So always customers are ready for something different, something unique. So that unique product, I think they should
So
make.
not
and
only-
they
What I
not
think
only-
is,
yeah,
if we are
not
stuck
only-
with the battery that we are making,
which we were
the
using
competition
last
will be
time.
there. There will be measure the different giants that would come in and they would make the same product. I think we should venture out. We should try for new products. I
And,
think the
uh,
second
we
option
can
is what I
have-
think is the best option that
And
we
for
have right
making
now.
our new product, what I think like
We
that
can-
for making new our product, whatever we are designing, for this purpose we should try to connect with the garage workers who is particularly working in this particular area, so that they can give the feedback of the customer who are using this particular product. So according to their suggestion, we can increase the technical competence in the batteries. So this is also the way which we can implement the particular things in batteries manufacturing industry, and then through which we can increase our
A
sales.
very important point, my friend.
Batteries are not only used in the automobile industry, they are used in other industries as well. So we can venture out from automobile industry to other industries also.
I think Pooja had a very
There are different
important
industries
point.
where we can
I
venture
just
out
wanted
also.
to say that we want to go for a new product, but I think we should really pay attention to our already manufacturing batteries. Those are lead acid batteries, because it does not only covers the small electric vehicles, but it also covers the forklift trucks and luggage trucks as well. So we have a larger market in that sense. So we should pay attention to that as well.
Yes, like nickel cadmium batteries, we already covered that they are light, durable, and they have other advantages. So like she said, we can go for other batteries in the lead acid category, like the standby batteries and the motive power batteries, which would help us, for during that luggage lifting at airports and other stations, and forklift trucks. And then standby batteries can be used for telecommunications, computers, alarm systems. So yeah, we should invest on them as
More
well.
innovative things which
Yeah,
can
we have a
increase
bigger
chances
market.
of products.
If we are investing in this cars and vans, I think that we would have much major share in the market, and the sales would be much higher.
But we
than
already
this.
have a fierce competition from our competitors,
And
and
also this can be
so
See,
yeah,
if
we
you
have
venture out
markets.
of cars and
We have markets
our
like
traditional vehicles that we
uh,
target, so I think we can do better.
I think
we
to Varsha.
have customers like we have Maruti, Indigo, Daewoo of India, and Proton of Malaysia and Thailand. What we can do is that if we venture out some other countries also, we can come out of those countries and go to some other countries and venture
Yeah,
out.
we can target
We
new
can target
markets.
different markets also.
I'd like to speak on the fierce competition part. I assume that there are many competitors in the market, like my friend Hashim Ali mentioned about the monopolistic market. So one possible solution, according to me, is to have a collaboration and introducing a mixed product into the market. See, if if EBC combines with 2 or 3 other firms and produces a new product which doesn't have a dependency on financing the product, so it can actually have a large share of the market, as in targeting other individual firms versus the combination of EBC plus 2 or 3 firms.
For example, what he said according to his opinion, he is actually right. He said according to my opinion, like example of Vodafone and Idea, you can say in reference of another product. Like Vodafone and Idea has just taken a merge up with each other, so that's why they are able to sell their new product and new feature in the industry, and they are getting some more customers in a very well way. So this is thing which he said, like by being merged up with another battery industries, we can increase our sales. Whatever we are product making,
They can actually create a monopoly in the market.
Topic is a different topic altogether.
But yes, that's why just taken a reference of that
Mergers and
particular.
joint ventures can
But
be a solution.
first,
but then
we are actually focusing on capturing the market share.
Yes.
So what needs to be done is to actually have a revenge against the entire or other competitors, and have and shake hands with 2 or 3 close competitors.
Ultimately,
I'll pick up
will
from
increase the
Ankur.
product.
I'll pick up from Ankur. Like you mentioned about collaborating with other companies, we can collaborate with institutes also, because different institutes are there.
Very
in,
good point, my friend.
Different institutes are there in India who are coming up with cutting edge technologies and researches also. Like we have IITs.
So that we can increase the technical.
So, yeah, they have different departments of chemical engineering, departments of battery industry where they are collaborating. So we can collaborate with different institutes of national importance and different CSI institutes also. They are also coming up with different researches.
I think they would bring some
new
innovation
things,
and new ideas
we
as well
can
in this.
implement those.
Like many IITs from our country where we can get the new technologies and we can implement, we can increase the product or size of a particular product which we are making. So I think we are just reaching.
Friends, let us just discuss about the different markets. The problem of different markets is still persisting. So what other markets should EBC focus on to increase, to have a competitive advantage over the other firms? Let's discuss it. Any one of you would like to highlight different market criteria into picture or have a solution regarding it?
So as my boyfriend said that they have already a good market share in the trucks and luggage trucks and they are trying to, like, we can opt for batteries for small electric vehicles. So we, as Pooja mentioned, that we shouldn't leave the existing market obviously and we should try to enter to the new market. So in that way we can capture different markets, and here are like 4 options. So in each options they are saying that there is one that they can use lead acid, that will be cheaper, and there is nickel cadmium. So they, I think if they use both, so they will be able to like economically poor market as well as the rich market, like
because
they can
investing in both.
Because
Investing
according
in
to our
investment
opinion, the price
decision in which
discrimination
we
will
are
be there.
investing in
Yes.
both,
Yes.
proportionally in both.
Yes.
Yeah, that
So
can
that-
be a very good solution, so that we
Yes.
do not have to choose one between the two. We can go for both
Yeah,
the
I think
products.
if we are doing good in lead acid batteries, then we should keep working on it. And for other like nickel cadmium batteries, I think we should have a different team and different people, technicians working in that field altogether, so that we can just start working on it. I mean, we shouldn't leave our market right now, and just
and we can
focus
have that product based structure in the company, so that every product based team is taking decisions for that product, and we can like
We can also have,
have 4
different-
products
we can
also.
also have different market analysts also in our company who would constantly venture out in different markets and see what other competitors are doing, because we need to know what other competitors are doing, why they're venturing out, to understand that why we should venture out, where this company should venture out. We need that market analysis to be done.
Very good point, my friend. I like to highlight from the case study that the market that EBC captures is only the Asian countries, and it's only the 3 Asian countries the company is dominating in. So any suggestions that how should we capture the western part?
I think we should really focus on what existing companies over there in this respect are doing, and what different can we bring on, like in the market.
Yeah, like I'd like to elaborate on my previous point where you improve your quality. Like here we are supplying batteries only to Maruti, Indica, and one other company in India, yeah, and in Malaysia and in Thailand. So I mean, if we improve our quality and if we change the batteries that can fit bigger SUVs and all, so we can target German markets and the other markets. Like we can go for Volkswagen and other vehicles.
I'll give answer to what Ankur said about venturing in Western market. Yeah, different Western and European market have their own sentiments. They have their own cultures and backgrounds. So what we can tap on those cultural backgrounds, because we can devise our new marketing strategies, devise our new advertising strategies depending on how to hit those sentiments. Not only hit those sentiments based upon the battery sectors.
Yeah.
Yes, actually is right.
So to conclude, I think what we think is, I think we should do what we are doing, and I mean we should manufacture the lead acid batteries. Along with that, we should also bring some new batteries that are used in vehicles and cars and vans. Along with that, we should also invest in R&D.
Yes.
And like my friend said, we should also collaborate with other companies. We should think of or try to collaborate with other companies. Along with that, we should also try to invest or focus on the other Western countries, not only the Asian countries. So that's
Yeah, I would like to add 2 to 3 more points that we had discussed to summarize. yes, we discussed points like we can reduce the price, we can improve the quality, we can go for ventures, and like Costa mentioned, we can have mergers, and then we can also have agreements with colleges where the students shall work in the R&D department, and improving the existing products, bringing on new products. Yeah, that is what pretty much we discussed. So, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi friends, so we are in lecture 27 and we had the first of the group discussions on the case study type. These are students of the MHRM program at the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, the IIT Kanpur. And let me again introduce so that when I give the feedback, as I've already in fact intimated to them, I'll give person by person feedback. So on my right is Ankur Agarwal, followed by Alolika, and then Hashim Ali, then Kaustav Sengupta. Then on my left side we have Varsha Vijay and Akshay and Pooja. So let's come to the way in which the GD began. It was a very good beginning. After a brief introduction, the discussion settled down to real business. And in the middle part, and maybe somewhere after the middle part, what we saw is there was too much of confusion. It was like some scenes in the our reverend Lok Sabha, where the members, of course, in that case they come into fisticuffs, they come into physical, kind of not interaction, but let us say counteraction with each other. But here it was, because it's a group discussion, it was a verbal tiff between some members, and I think that should be avoided. I'm not naming anybody, but we have rest of the class sitting on two sides, you see them, and they have also observed that sometimes it so happened that out of 7, 4 were speaking at the same point of time. So my first point, apart from good beginning and settling down to business, is that this should be avoided. The minute you feel this is happening, each of you should remain silent, so that you give a pause, 1 minute silence or maybe 20-30 second silence, and that gives you time to settle down. Okay, then how do we re-begin? So that kind of gap is, it's advised, it's asked for, because the kind of gap which you filled up with too many people speaking at the same time, that led to loss of the flow of the discussion. Somewhere there was a loss in the logical process of thinking of all of you as a member of the group discussion which took place now, the first one on the case study interview type. So let's come now to individuals. We have first of all my comments on Akshay, soft spoken but very well balanced in his approach to the issue of new products. Then let's come to Varsha. I think if you don't mind my saying it, you should have some more gap between the words. Don't be in a hurry. The number of words per minute should be reduced, that's what I mean. And towards the end, what I noticed is you had some points which were very good, because when 2-minute signal or indication was shown to you, she was still interested, and it was a good intervention that she said, I would like to add some more points to the conclusion being drawn from the case study discussion. Of course, not to mention the fact that Akshay in fact initiated the conclusion of this first group discussion of the case study type. Let's come to Kaustav, and Kaustav brings with him to the group discussion some 2 years of experience, if I am right. 4 years of experience, double what I am thinking. And that maturity was evinced in the group discussion. It was, I think, quite evident to all of you also that the way in which he gave examples and the way in which he exemplified his approach to this issue of new products being discussed. But let's come now to Hashim Ali. And most admirable thing about Hashim Ali was the tone, a very general but a very good tone by which the discussion was carried out by him. And if we come to Alolika, what I best liked about her speaking in fits and spurts during the course of this GD was the slow and deliberate way in which she spoke, because she had well considered points. So maybe Varsha could take some tips from her. how not to be in a hurry. There is no need to be too much in a hurry. We are all prisoners of time, we wear this, and when we have a time-bound activity like a group discussion where you are supposed to come to solving the issues given at the end of the case study, the point is we feel that time is short and I'll not be able to say what I have to say. The thing is, number two is, the second point is that during the discussion new ideas emerge, and therefore newer ideas emerge in the minds of the individuals, and they have a feeling that I should say this, I should say this. But anyway, just think that even if we don't have the watch or the mobile or some time indicator in front of us, time is enough. As the video recording session has revealed, you have discussed for 12 minutes and not 10 minutes. So it's good that we have exceeded by 2 minutes, but we have completed the discussion and come to well-rounded, let's say, capstone comment on the discussion as such. If we come now to Pooja, I think you need to avoid the non sequiturs. You need to increase the volume of your voice. So there is an idea of tone when Alolika speaks, and the idea of volume when I speak about you in my comment. Let's come to the last person, that is Ankur. I think, in my opinion, of course this is my opinion, Ankur was the leader. So we deserve a treat from you, no? You know why? We have these 5 points, if you remember, the audience, I'm telling you now. If you remember the 5 points, the 5 qualities which are looked for in GDs, the first is leadership, the second is knowledge of subject matter, the third is analytical ability, fourth clarity of thoughts, and fifth is conviction as well as flexibility. And if you again recall and go back to my previous lecture on fundamentals of group discussion, the point is in Ankur we saw all of these. So that would be all for this particular group discussion, the first one in lecture 27. Thank you.
Thank you.
And God bless you.
Hello, my name is Purva Chaudhary.
Hi, I'm Tanvi Ajit. Hi, my name is Jyotika Dasgupta.
Hi, I'm Tirthu.
Hi, this is Anupam Dash.
Hi, I'm Paulami Shaha.
Hi, this is Aritra Lahiri.
Hello, this is Rajoshi Trivedi. So let us begin with the case study presented here. We have got a problem of integration. An Indian cutlery manufacturer named Market, based in Chennai, they have entered into a joint venture with a Bangladeshi and a Korean firm. And they seem to be doing pretty well until and unless the Korean firm presents non-cooperation in the way the business is carried out. So let us get down to the questions here.
Maybe before getting down to the questions, I would like to add a very exciting example. This is about Cutlery Corporation, Cutco of America. It was initially it was Alcus Corporation. Then Alcus took over Cutco, and after that Alcus took over Vector, and they have reached out to immense diverse markets through this significant mergers, what you can say, or maybe acquisitions. And they are also pioneering in the stainless steel and cutlery section in America. So that is how the industry sector is shaping up these days, that we have to look into mergers, we have to look into acquisitions and takeovers, but then we have to maintain a uniformity in the company, uniform compliances and rules, and I think which is lacking in this case of the Korean firm, which is named Hawthorne.
So what actually happened in this situation was that initially market was interested in breaking into the Asian market, and it did so by taking over two firms. One was Bangladeshi and the other was Korean. Now what is observed from the Korean firm is that they like to work independently. Now that might be taken as a non-cooperative move on part of market, because it's an Indian company, but that might not actually be something that might not actually be non-cooperation from the part of the Korean company, because there are two different cultures. So maybe the culture in Korea is that of working independently and not really working in tandem with the other company. So we need to keep that in mind as well, because there are two different cultures and two different places altogether.
Another perspective to this is that, like, maybe we are thinking of it as like uncooperative movement, but let's see, like they cater to a different market altogether. They make high-end cutlery, we make middle tiers. But adding to this, let's see, they might think that they know the market better than we do, and this is kind of true because it's in Korea and we are Indian markets. So we should probably ask them to sit down with us and see what the actual problem is, the root of the
When
issue.
it comes to mergers, the important part is like there has to be cooperation between the different companies. Unless and until we do that, it will definitely fall apart. Maybe we can make profits in the beginning, but then eventually it is going to completely tear apart the company.
Carrying the same point that Ritika tabled, that the cultural differences, if we look the geographical location of this country, in the far line of the Orient, the Korea is located and is geographically different, and this Bangladeshi farm is the Bangladesh geographically in the Indian subcontinent. So the Chennai office is going well with the Dhaka office, the Dhaka factory, and there are some differences that is apparent here with the Seoul office. So I think that this cultural differences also there. Working environment, their working environment different, and the mindset of people, and also the point that Tirtha table, that the market demand, the Seoul firm, they carry on their production according to their market demand, and the Indian subcontinent firms, the Dhaka and Chennai, they do with their market demand. But as it will be a pan-Asian production unit, so Tirtha tabled a fantastic point that we have to sit and we have to consult about the matter, that how can we explore in the pan-Asian level.
Actually, what Tanvi said about merger, it's not really a merger, it's a takeover. It's now the two companies are subsidiaries, so actually you are being benefited by the parent organization.
Right.
So you cannot opt to be so non-cooperative.
Yes.
I understand what Tirtha said is that the Korean market is altogether new for us, new for Marq, and they do not have much idea about the Korean market. So it's always good to take hold of the new company that we hope that we have there. They have a better idea of the market, but then again we should have a not really we can roll out such amount of autonomy to them. We really need to have something which is catering to the needs of the parent organization.
So first and foremost, what needs to be done is, we need to make the managers of the Seoul plant that is in Korea, we need to make them aware that these are the grievances that are being faced by the people who are working, like the head office in Chennai, for example. We need to make them aware that these are the things, or this is the culture that is prevalent in our particular organization, and then we need to align them towards the objectives of the organization, because they have been working in a separate market, so they might not be, they might not be aware of exactly what is happening in this particular market.
Well, taking from Ritika's point, I think what should first be done is a proper strategic design of the board, considering the parent company and the subsidiaries. So the board should have representation from both the geographical subsidiaries, that is Bangladesh and Korea. That can help in improving communication between the cultural and geographical needs of both those locations and the parent company. And having said that, besides having representation in the board, the parent company, that is, there should be proper representation of the Indian company, the Indian half, and the culture and the strategy they follow into the companies of Bangladesh and Korea.
Maybe
that is the subsidiaries.
But we need to look at the primary reason why this difference took place, right? When we merged with the Bangladeshi firm, I mean the Indian firm, we saved the Bangladeshi firm from closure. But it wasn't the case with the Korean firm. They welcomed the investment because we invested into their production. So that is the primary reason, which could be that they were in a position of strength.
So they basically
and
see
the
us as
Bangladeshis
outsiders, right?
Exactly.
They do not see us as
exactly so, and that is primarily the reason how Korean firms work. They are more into family-owned businesses. They are not much into cooperation with other countries. If you now addressing the first question, is it true that Koreans are uncooperative? Now that is a pretty generic and can't be stated from one particular example. But for example, the main one of the biggest reasons for that, or rather an example of that, could be in the case of test of nuclear missiles, which and the subsequent UN sanctions, which when North Korea was particularly digressing from those sanctions. So in spite of threats from the US and other world powers, so they kind of like to have their own way. Which is non-cooperation.
So when the Chennai office wants to get the market of the entire Asia, then the market should should be broken into the sections. I think the eastern and southeastern part of the Asia, that market containing the countries like I can say China, Mongolia, Japan, Thailand, Vietnam, that countries have probably quite different demand, and that market should be quite well understood by the Seoul firm, and the rest of the part of the Asia that should be understood by the Dhaka firm, and this sectionalization I think good.
Yes, Anupam, it was already touched upon, and one more thing is, yes, you are right, there may be two types of acquisitions we can look forward to. One is in which a company and its subsidiary operates in the same region, like what happened in case of Infosys acquiring Edgeworth. So in that case, you have to roll out a different product altogether to the subsidiary, so that they can master in it. Like Infosys rolled out Finacle to
since they're already producing something completely different, I think.
But in this case, we cannot really do that because both are cutlery firms.
But they are completely different kinds of cutlery, which are completely catering to different kinds of the strata.
But probably we don't have such footprints in the parts of Korea and all that, so we have to depend on them. Moreover, what we can look into an example is Pfizer. Pfizer, all throughout the years, it's a pharmaceutical company, and all throughout the years, they have acquired so many firms in so many geographical locations. For an instance, they have acquired Pharmacia, which is based out of Sweden. So why did they do it? Just because of diversifying their market into that Sweden market.
Okay, so you understand that we need to diversify with them. So the way forward is to let us call them to a roundtable meeting.
Definitely.
We should see what their side of the story is. We should present our side of the story, come to a mutual agreement.
We should always be solutions that we could have a cultural exchange program with them.
To build up a healthy cooperation, I think lateral movement of the employees and managers we can do. We can bring some managers from Seoul office to Dhaka office and exchange to Chennai office to Dhaka and to Seoul office. These things are lateral movement of employees we can do.
That is a very good point which Anupam mentioned. That kind of closes the gap between cultures which Ritika was talking about. So that is intercultural mix, which will probably help in better integration between firms.
It will help them to
ideas and views.
We have a digital age, so because of that we get
We should also address the problems that are actually raised by this.
First and foremost,
these are three incredibly different cultures, I would say, like Seoul, India, Dhaka.
Exactly.
So this will bring more problems than just normal, I would say, a normal cross exchange.
But incorporating and integrating with a Korean firm is never easy, because their political, economic liberalization is not that much as in India. So
we are not sure this
I
is
understand
North
that,
Korea
but
or South Korea, like
any of that actually.
First and foremost, I think they need to recognize with the market has taken over the Korean firm, so the Korean firm should actually recognize with what the particular organization wants. That sort of identification or that sort of belonging to the company is what's required first and foremost.
Yes, so the second question goes like, does it matter? What problems does it cause? So we have discussed more on this, that it does matter and it has a wide range of problems, which is already evident. So the third question is, what can and should be done about it? So we have to make a roundtable conference with the stakeholders, and probably we have to formulate a strategy for overall running of the organization as a unit, not in three different parts.
So that the goals are aligned to a common cause.
Yes, the goals have to be aligned to a common cause. The global strategy heads and all that should be designed so as to strategize, not thinking that the Koreans are in a different market, Bangladesh is in a different market,
Opting
India
for
is
more geography-based structure in the organization than probably product-based, since they're manufacturing different kinds of products now, and so their thought process would be focusing on the products and ignoring the geography part of it. So maybe focus on a bit more geography-based structure.
That they could learn from each other as well. So if we have this digital platform connecting everybody, we could always have the exchange of ideas.
The other thing we could do is like follow a more decentralized approach. We can maybe standardize the procedures that are normally followed in the different kind of manufacturing processes, so that we are uniform as a whole. Maybe we can think about like adding a different kind of brand to the Hawthorne products that are already being present and marketed in Seoul. So that will keep our own presence, as well as take care of their own autonomies and their, I would say, their self-respect.
But you are talking about decentralized approach. Don't you think that in this case we should moreover look towards a centralized approach where we need a central power to actually rule all the three parts now, so that in the future we can venture out into other areas like Indonesia, Jakarta and all that. We have seen it happening in case of Cutlery Co.
It should be well monitored from the Chennai office.
I understand your point, but I think the problem that herein lies is the difference in the geographies and the cultures. It's too great to actually follow a centralized approach.
Yeah, but then when three companies are working together, when there are three organizations that are going to come together and work for a greater good, it's important to really let go of the rigid culture that you think that they are in. So it's important that they identify they are a part of something. And
yes, we can franchise, which is what I said. Like we should incorporate our own brand name into the Hawthorne products that they're already selling. Like in the case of McDonald's, I would say, like they make specialized products for each and every country, especially for different countries that are already very different from the other cultures. So we could probably adopt that kind of approach. So in that way, like they will have their own autonomy. They will feel that they are in charge of their
I
own
think
country.
that is what, because here it's mentioned, but the Koreans are determined to remain as independent as possible. So I think there should be, we cannot cut out their autonomy completely as such. So part decentralization I think should be there to make them feel empowered and let them function in alliance with the parent company's ethos and goals, but also maintain their autonomy and the structure they follow, so that they could cooperate but also bring in their own strategies.
We should basically come to a point wherein the decentralization doesn't lead to further differentiation. That is the main aim.
So the maximum mixture of centralization and decentralization would be the right way forward.
An appropriate mix of centralization, exactly.
To gain the as per the
Common
requirement.
power flow from the organization in the beginning, like from India. Maybe we can try and if such cases happen, then we can try and venture out other areas in future. We have cited various examples in regards to that. So probably I can. I think we have a common consensus now that the firm should be looking towards a middle approach between centralized and decentralized approach. They have ventured out into Korea and Bangladesh. There are some problems with the Korean firm which has to be primarily addressed for the overall goodwill of the firm. So they have to look into a centralized approach, and in the meanwhile they have to ensure autonomy to the Korean firm because they are the ones who are mastering in their own market. So that is how we should end the GD. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are back with the second case study type of interview, and I will request those behind us to maintain silence, please. You can talk in whispers. So let's come to the feedback of the second case study type of interview, GD, group discussion, in lecture 27. So we have the participants who need to be introduced once again, so that the audience, that is rest of the students, can know them. On my left we have Tirthu Nandi, and then Ritika Dasgupta, then Tanvi, and then Purva Chaudhary. On my right side we have Anupam Dash, Paulami Shaha, Aritra Lahiri, and Rajashri Trivedi. So as you see that if we have gone through one discussion threadbare, and we have rewound and looked at the video once again, and then you have got the feedback from the teacher or the instructor, and therefore the second one is always a better performance than the first attempt, because they have the idea that they can work on the feedback of the first one and not repeat the mistakes. On the whole, this group concluded quite well, and there were lesser instances of 3-4 people or more than 5 people speaking at the same time together. So in a sense, it was a more productive group discussion because the time wastage was less. When people talk together, then time is wasted, and anyway the logic or the thread of discussion goes haywire, because in the process you don't know where to begin again and bring the focus back on the group discussion. So it's like a train moving on a track, and then you must have heard about that famous episode of our bandit queen, Miss Poolan Devi. And she was elected one of the MPs from, I think, one constituency in Gwalior, somewhere near Gwalior, I think erstwhile Madhya Pradesh. And because she was the bandit queen, her name in the movie by that same phrase, bandit queen, was Seema Biswas. Not me, but Seema Biswas. So you know what she did? It was all in the news once upon a time, and all the audience will know about it also, that she made the train, in fact, turn to her village So all the passengers, I don't know how many passengers were there on the train, but minimum should be, I think, 2,000 passengers. It was a big, long train with AC, non-AC, and a lot of sleepers, wagons. So in that sense, that was a historic day in the history of Indian Railways, because many of the trains became late, many of the trains had to be rescheduled, many trains had to be short terminated, many trains had to be begun from new destination, all because of one person doing like this. So imagine, I'm giving you an analogy, imagine if this is done by 3-4 people together, then what will happen? If you have one bandit queen, that is enough for Indian Railways. Now we have this case study, and you have some bandit kings and some bandit queens, and if all speak together, then this is going to happen. So it happened in the first instance, but not in this one. So coming back to business, now let's come back to the beginning. And Mr. Rajarshi Trivedi was the last one to introduce himself, and I don't know what happened, but he began the discussion. It's not that the last one who introduces himself has to begin the discussion. Anybody can begin the discussion, but Mr. Rajarshi Trivedi took a very firm stand, and in that sense he is a very balanced and a very convicted, in fact I would say very convinced speaker of what he has to put forward to elaborate upon the good points. This is very good of him to have given the introduction, which set the group discussion into proper motion. Then we come to Ultra Lahiri, and another good point which we have to mention about this case study discussion number 2 in lecture 27 is that right at the beginning, if a group discussion is going to give a new point, it gives an altogether new perspective to what you have in black over white. You have some situation there, and the title of this group discussion is integration. But if you give a current scenario as an instance into the group discussion, it shows not only your depth of the current affairs in the industry or the business world as such, it is able to give, as I said, I repeat myself once again, a new perspective to the group discussion ongoing. Then we come to this is PG, and this is RDG, sorry. So we are talking about Ritika Dasgupta, and she is established in this group discussion as one who has complete control over the language. In fact, next to Tirthonandi, I think Ritika Dasgupta spoke very well, and if she is able to bring a point of culture into the discussion, it is like putting theory into practice. All of us attend classes, but how many of us are able to put what we learn in 4 walls of a classroom, in the space called the pedagogical space? How many of us are able to bring that into action? And when she inserted this point of culture, I was reminded of our interaction in chapter 2, culture, because we all remember, and I have also said it sometimes, that culture is communication and communication is culture. The whole of communication boils down finally to your culture, and this is very admirable on part of Ms. Ritika Dasgupta. Kudos to her. Then we come to Tirthonandi, and as I said, I will repeat once again, very good control over the English language, soft spoken. At the same time, if you observe his body language, a very erect body posture. Throughout, I don't know how you do it. I'm a very old lady, so I sometimes slouch, sometimes I sit like this, sometimes I am down, sometimes I'm feeling weak, sometimes I'm feeling hungry, as you are feeling hungry, looking at lunchtime. No, but we can have lunch later on. But the point is that Tirtho was able to maintain his erect posture, which was very good, as fine as his great control over the language. We have Tanvi, and she is soft spoken, and again the idea that increase your volume. Then we come to Arithro. Who is this person? It's you, Anupam Dash. I'm looking at AD. Okay, I'm thinking of Anupam Dash. So Anupam Dash listed the points very well, because he focused on the points which are there in the case study. Summarizing is one of his plus points, And the use of verbs, for example, in a GD, I think he's the only one who used the verb tabled. This point tabled by my friend, in this way. Then we come to PS. Who's PS? Paulami Shaha. Okay, so Paulami Shaha, my advice to you is to avoid non-fluencies, but overall very good points. We must remember that some of us are beginners, we are freshers, we are just fresh out of college, BTech 4 years of higher degree course, but we have no experience. But against that context, if you place Miss Paulami Shaha, her cutout is very good, and in fact she does quite well. She spoke quite well, and points were also well presented and new ones. Then the last one we have Purva Chaudhary, soft spoken, which can be a strength in your case as against what I said about Tanvi Ajit. It can be a strength as well as a weakness. So you think about what I am trying to intimate or indicate to you. And on the whole, if we have to speak about the best speaker, we have 3 best presenters. We have Aritro and Titho and of course Rajarshi. Thank you.